back to another episode of the Young Entrepreneur Show. My name is Dwayne Farnsworth, and I'm America's Young Entrepreneur Coach, and I'm your host for the show today. Today we have a special show. It's a showcase show where we're going to be interviewing another young entrepreneur who's killing it and making it happen out there. We're joined in studio today with a successful young entrepreneur, Tommy Kowalski. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dwayne.
Well, we can see by your T-shirt already and by the magazine or book that I'm holding that the name of your company is
PS118.
PS118. How did you come up with the name of your company?
It's coined after a Nickelodeon show from the 90s when I was watching it when I was a kid.
Okay, so you got your inspiration from something else that you had already seen.
Yeah.
We don't have to be original when we're coming up with the names. Sometimes we can use something as an inspiration, and Tommy has certainly shown that as a young entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Your main product of what you produce is this magazine.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a perfect binding on it. It's scored. It's a real nice printing. Mm-hmm. But I love the photography. The photography is very well done. Who shoots the photography?
I shoot all the photography myself.
Okay, so you're a photographer. How did you learn to be a photographer?
When I was a lot younger, I just really got into it.
Okay, so you taught yourself.
Yeah, so it was pretty much self-taught, yes.
You worked with other people that were photographers?
Yeah. And
you've become good at it, I can tell. Either you're real good at it, or whoever does the post-production work and the photoshopping is real good at it. It's a nice layout. Do you lay out the magazine as well?
Yes, I do the layout and graphic design as well.
And I've read some of the articles in here. Very well written. Do you write this? I understand.
Yeah, I do most of the writing as well too.
Okay. Did you enjoy English class in high school?
I did not, for the most part. Yeah.
But you found something you're passionate about, and you started writing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really the key for young entrepreneurs is once you find something that's going to be fun or interesting for you, then you can make something that was boring in school interesting because it's something that you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. This magazine, how many copies? People magazine prints, what do you think? 1.5 million, 2 million copies of an edition?
Something like that, yeah.
And your edition, when you have it printed, you get everything all ready for the printer. You send it, an electronic file to the printer, local printer here in town that you work with. Mm-hmm. And that printer prints how many copies for you?
It's about 150 to 200.
Okay, so you have a very small distribution.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fear of missing out, isn't it? When you introduce your magazine, how often do you print a magazine?
Usually quarterly, just every 3 months.
And so you've got 150 printed. And with such a short run, if somebody wants to get a copy of it, they better jump on it.
Yeah, for the most part.
So you've trained, there's probably some people who have wanted to buy it, and you have to tell them it's already sold out.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool marketing gimmick, and the old fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. You'll get people jumping on it, because next time they're not going to miss out. They're going to come in, and they're going to drop. How much does it cost to produce this?
It's about $4 per magazine.
And how much do you sell the magazine for?
$10.
So your profit is $6 a copy.
Yeah.
And of the 125, 150 that you print, 150, 200, I forget the number, how many do you think you sell on an average?
About 75% during our initial release of the magazine.
So over 100.
Yeah.
But make the math easy for us. You sell 100 copies. Your profit margin is $6 a copy, so you're making $600 just from sales alone.
Yeah.
In a very targeted niche market. Mm-hmm. You have a website that supports the PS118, mm-hmm. and that's how you do some of your marketing and your promotion for the magazine, isn't it?
Yeah, for the most part. We do social media, Facebook, Instagram, our Tumblr, our blog. All of those are just crucial tools when it comes to putting together the magazine and just sort of releasing it to the public.
So you'll push it out to your fans or your followers.
Yeah.
And how many people are following on PS118, the website? Or
online, usually quarterly, we have about 10 to 15,000 views.
Wow.
Per issue.
So. Wow. And that's how you're able to sell out every edition, basically. With you said 75%, but you also told me before the interview that you take some of these to this board shops and you save a few copies of it so that you have an archive.
Yeah.
So selling 75%. Really, you're pretty much moving almost 100% of your copies.
Yeah, for the initial release, we usually sell about 75% and then continue on to release it and have it distributed to all the skate shops in the state area, and just statewide, they sell them on their own inventory as well. So we usually sell out within the 3-month period.
Wonderful. Your market here, I assume, is skaters, since it's a skate magazine, and they're following you pretty strong. You've got about $600, maybe $700, $800 from the sales. How else do you generate revenue for creating a profit on your enterprise?
We normally we have advertising. We have national advertisers. We have about 4 or 5 national advertisers.
Name some names. Who's national advertisers?
Creature Skateboards being one of them. Crew Denim is another crucial sponsor of ours.
I see a local advertiser, Cowtown, in here.
Cowtown, we have about 7 local advertisers. They all usually pay pretty cheap versus the national advertisers just because we want to get more of a local scene out there.
Yeah. So how much do you generate in revenue from the advertising that goes in? Or it's really very low key. I call it advertising, but it's just it's almost a branding campaign rather than a direct response marketing. Hey, come in, we've got a special deal at Cowtown this month.
Yeah, it kind of really reels you in. We usually, with all of the sales of our magazines, we usually make about $2,500 within the quarter of each release. So.
Okay, that's very successful. Now, this is a part-time gig for you.
Yeah.
How did you decide to become a self-employed publisher, which is what you are, as opposed to entrepreneurial employee?
I didn't really like the way that I was going with as far as just working for other companies. I felt like there was something that I could really do in my own aspect that I could make my own.
Okay.
So I just really wanted to make my own product and just kind of go with it, you know.
The freedom of creativity and innovation and disruption, really. I think that's remarkable. Where did you come up with the idea of this, of a magazine? I mean, if you're sitting in high school, that's when you started, was when you were in high school, all right? And you're sitting in high school, how'd you come up with the idea of, instead of just skating, because you're a skater, I assume, it's not an assumption I make. I've got your board here. This is where all the magic happens. You called it the
Palace.
The Palace. That's right.
Yeah.
And are you good?
I'm all right, I guess.
Okay. Are you as good as now? I'm going to call you out. Are you good as Caleb Schrank?
Caleb's a very good skater, but yeah.
Wow, he's in the air with 1 foot. He's both feet in the air. Remarkable photography, remarkable skill on a board. But you know, this is what you do as a pastime, right?
It's a passion of mine.
And it was a passion when you started another passion, which is
the magazine.
The magazine, Young Entrepreneurial. So how did you come up with the idea to do a magazine?
For the most part, it was just I saw that the local scene really needed something to make it stand apart from just the national scene altogether.
Okay.
National skateboarding was you had the national magazines, but you never had anything that was very local or very regional, for that matter. So anything that was just very just statewide, it's a lot more condensed. Just the more the niche market, the better it is for the audience to relate to the photos that are in the magazine.
So name a couple national magazines.
A couple national magazines being the Skateboard Mag, Thrasher, Transworld Skateboarding.
Okay, so are you on their radar? Does Skateboard Magazine know about you and what you do?
Yeah, I think they do.
Which is kind of cool. And so if they're seeing this, it also gives some exposure to the local boarders.
Yeah.
Right? Have any of your local boarders been later reviewed or profiled in
National
Thrasher or National Magazine?
They actually have. Quite a few of the skaters that have grown through PS 118 and go on to just be outstanding skateboarders and get a lot more coverage, and it's just awesome to see that.
That's exciting. So almost like a baseball farm team, right? That's kind of cool. So people want to be associated with you. I'm gathering, you know, skateboarding is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm gathering that because you're producing the magazine, you show up on the scene with your skateboard, and you're kind of a big deal to a certain degree sometimes.
Yeah.
You're doing the magazine. Is that fun?
Yeah, it's a blast. I love
Okay.
it.
You know, that was one of the things with my interview with my son, Adam Farnsworth, in a previous episode, was he had indicated that when he shows up someplace to a party or just to get together or gathering, people are wanting to hear what he has going, what's going on, who've you talked to, and do you get that kind of social experience?
Yeah, it's a very great social experience just to like be able to talk to somebody about your project and they kind of relate to it and they're super interested in it. You know, it's awesome.
Because you're making things happen.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so who do you look to or who have you looked to for advice and mentoring or counseling as you've developed up this adventure?
I've had a couple inspirational photographers. One being Gene Lauer, who's a photographer for the Arizona Cardinals. He does a lot of NFL stuff, just a lot of sports stuff. And
Okay.
then Matt Price being my business partner now.
Yeah.
He was definitely an inspiration to me. He worked for the Skateboard Mag for a number of years. Just aesthetically, with the portions of the magazine graphically and the layout, I'd have to owe it to like my the owner of the internship. The owner of Cahoots, which is a place I used to work at in downtown Phoenix. It's a collaborative co-working space that combines entrepreneurs with just like all together in one space together so that they can sort of collaborate. And she was
So
the owner,
it's an innovation lab, startup lab for small businesses.
basically.
How many businesses were at Cahoots?
There's about 100,
That's a lot. And you were an intern there. How many of those companies did you get to work with?
about a dozen.
Okay. Did you gather some experience there that has helped you in having this successful niche
Yes,
publishing
I
company?
actually got to work with the brands themselves as far as just doing just small, minuscule amount of design work and just here and there. And it just really boosted up everything that they had going because it was such a small company to begin with that so many things like just a small branding aspect of one company can make a huge difference. So, yeah.
So if you were doing this interview, if you were interviewing yourself, what question would you ask yourself?
I'd probably tell myself, like, where did I get this idea to begin with? I just really didn't understand it at first, but I started along the line, start to understand that it was more of just that I wanted to be myself. I wanted to progress. Like, I just wanted to be passionate about one thing only, that was skateboarding. So it really pushed me into a business perspective versus something that I was sort of like anti-establishment to begin with not being much of a English favorite.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so you're in high school, you're a bit of a rebel against what everybody wanted you to do.
yeah.
But what you loved doing was boarding. And so you took and you created a small business out of something you loved to do.
Yeah.
And isn't that what business is all about? Some of the best businesses that are out there come from a rebellious attitude about changing the way things are done, changing the status quo.
Yeah.
Innovation along with what's called disruption. And a great startup company, when you do a business, you can do a business that disrupts the marketplace and changes things completely, or you can get into a replicative business, which is something that's been done by other people before, and it's a great model. But you were kind of creating a disruption in the marketplace of boarding magazines by creating a local scene and a local place to be seen, and I think that's very cool. So, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs in our audience? Something that you wish perhaps you had known when you first started out as a young entrepreneur?
Well, for the most part, I feel like anything is really possible. You can really just go out and do it. Any company that you may think is a very big deal, it might be just a very small corporate office space that just is probably as well interested in the product that you're creating as much as you think they are. So
There is a power in boldness.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that young people should just say, hey, look, I'm going to do this. The worst thing that could happen is that they would reject your offer or not advertise with you or not allow you to promote them or display with them, or just be bold.
Exactly.
And go out and ask.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice for young entrepreneurs. Hey, you are an inspiration to young people that are trying to make things happen, and I appreciate you being in studio
Thank
with
you.
us. It's a delight to get to know you, and just a reminder to every young entrepreneur that business adventure is out there, so adventure on. PS 118.